Are we ready? Is it time?
1 minute.
Who's the time man?
We got it, Lindsay.
I don't have my watch.
See, Nick's doing that.
$38.
Oh, Nick's on top of it.
$38.
So this to go
Nick.
camping.
And
This
it only weighs
is.
a pound and a half.
Y'all ready?
A tent.
We're ready?
A tent.
Yeah, I'm ready. We can call it roll, yeah.
Yep.
All right, good morning. Let's call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, it's the 25th of August, and we're here at the maintenance building for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lindsay, call the roll, please.
Here, Kathy?
Here.
Mr. Pollard?
Here.
Ms. Cole? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Key?
Here. Thank you. Not on our agenda, but we have an announcement that I believe Matt is here. Matt Larson.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you would, why don't you come forward or stand at your chair and tell us what it is you want to announce.
My name is Michael Scoggins. I'm going to introduce Matt here. For those of you who don't know Matt, Matt was one of the first responders on the ground here with food and helping people out after the hurricane. He wasn't quite in Mexico Beach, but he was set up at the White Tent as well as in Port St. Joe and fed a ton of people here and helped us out. During that time, he developed an affinity for this area and grew to love us, and has since put on other events like last year's Stronger Than the Storm event in Beacon Hill Park that raised some funds for some good causes. We're able to donate it back to the city. We're attempting to do that again, only to stage it this time here in Mexico Beach on a smaller level. He's got some great ideas and some fundraisers with all of the funds and proceeds going back to the city to buy something. We don't know what that will be yet because we don't know how much money we're going to raise, but whatever it is, we'll pick a project with the blessing of the city and city council and planning and development, everyone that will most benefit by the monies that we raise and try to give something back to this community. With that being said, this is Matt Larson.
Good morning, everybody. Like you were saying, I have a restaurant in Alabama, Enterprise, Alabama. I came down a week after the hurricane on the 17th, and that day I was supposed to go to Crazy Fish Grill and feed people, and some things happened, but we went to Mexico Beach First Baptist Church, we went to Beach Baptist Chapel in St. Joe Beach, and we provided meals that day, and then, you know, on successive weekends after that here, Panama City, Callaway, Parker, Marianna, Blountstown. On Thanksgiving Day, we provided almost 2,000 meals right there at Lookout Lounge. And then at Lake Allison, Wiwall, and the whole area that day, we did about 20,000 meals in Panama, the whole panhandle. So I have a group, in 2008, our town had a tornado and 8 children passed away at the high school there. So ever since then, the people in our town, like we pitched together. We went to Tuscaloosa in 2011. We went up to Auburn, Beauregard last year when they had a tornado. So we started coming down here helping feed people. On Thanksgiving Day, we did a big meal there at Lookout Lounge, and also we provided a lot of food that were feeding people out by the road at El Governor, and on Christmas also. And then when it got closer to the 1-year anniversary of the hurricane last year, some people wanted that we made relationships with, wanted to throw like a barbecue or a picnic or something for 1 year, just in remembrance, and also to show everybody like how strong you guys are and how you're fighting back. And it turned out to be, we had live music, we had events, everything, the whole day was free. We started at 9 in the morning. Miss Sharon sang the national anthem, and I would like to have her back this year also. Her and Barry kicked it off, and then we had music going for all day. We had events for kids. Everything was free the whole day last year. All the food, drinks, we just wanted to give everybody a great day. I know there's concerns about the pandemic, and this is the second year from it, so of course it's scaled back a little bit, but Killer Seafood is one of the businesses that is one of the reasons why we're doing this event. You know, we want the rest of the world to see that you can still have great events, you can still do great things here in Mexico Beach. You know that you are not forgotten about. You know, I know you're not forgotten. All that gets thrown around a lot, but you guys have an amazing area here, which I would love. That I plan on retiring at one day. I just fell in love with this area, and we want to get a day on October 10th on that Saturday. We want to have the event at Killer Seafood, and my plans are to real quick. Right in front of his window where we order food, we're gonna block that off and put like a little temporary stage there, block that off. There'll be some people inside cooking hamburgers and hot dogs to bring out, which we will sell food that day for a minimal cost, and all the proceeds, definitely from the food, are gonna come back to the city. We'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, different things out there, drinks, tuna dip, fish dip, just barbecue, and hopefully next year when this pandemic has gone away a little bit, we can, if this goes well, we can expand this deal. And I would love to keep the event in Mexico Beach. And he had recommended maybe in the future at the boat ramp or close to the pier, parking lot, something if, you know, if we have a bigger space in the future. And I would like to would be an annual thing. If the ones who was there to do this and remembrance, and also for it to be a fundraiser for the city and different projects that you have in town, whether it be parks or recreation, whatever it may be, different events that you have coming up. So we plan on starting maybe at 10 a.m. that morning, and then just having different musical acts about an hour each. And we'll have a few events for a few things out there for the children like we did last year. Those things will be free. And then right at sunset, we're gonna have like a little candlelight moment of silence like we did last year. And then we'll have like one more singer, and then we'll be done right there probably around, I think sunset 6:16 that day. So we'll probably be done right on 8 o'clock that night. And that's just our plans. We're gonna have tents spaced out amongst the area. His whole lot where the cars and stuff are parked, nobody's gonna be able to park there. The gentleman next door gave us permission to use the parking lot there. We're gonna have tents spaced out, tables spaced out, chairs. I mean, I can't keep you from coming and saying hi to somebody and shaking their hand or giving them a hug or whatever, but we will have areas spaced out. We plan to have people handling food. If the COVID count's still high, the people that serving the hot dogs, hamburgers, and all that will have masks and all that. We're gonna have hand wash and hand sanitizer stations, wipes. We're gonna do everything we can. I know there's a lot of concerns to keep this thing as safe as possible. You know, if we have you guys' blessing. So, I want to be here. I want to, not just because it's my event, but Gumbo Festival, different things, fishing tournaments in the future. Mike will tell you, I'm down here almost every weekend. I come in there and volunteer and help cook and do things, and I want to be a part of your community. If you guys will have me and help you guys with future events, whether it be planning or cooking or taking the trash out or whatever. I do have one thing I would like to ask you guys as far as trash concerns I have that day. I can't bring in a dumpster that day. We're not going to have a ton of trash. It's mostly going to be like hamburger wrappers or hot dog wrappers and some Coke cans. And I've got different quotes on dumpsters, and also there's a gentleman that's a politician in Enterprise, Barry Moore. He's working on Tyndall. He may be able to bring one over from there, but if I can save that money some kind of way, that'll just be more money that gets donated back to the city. If there's a way that day we could maybe shuttle a few bags somewhere, I don't know, just up to your suggestion. If not, I have no problem bringing in.
Matt, we ought to be able to help.
Yes, sir.
I think the city can, for someone that's wanting to come in and have a day event like that, and I believe we can take care of that.
Yes, sir. That would just be more of who we have to help out with for you guys. And I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come speak. And if you have any kind of questions, you can get a hold of me. There's a Facebook page, Strong in the Storm. You can go on there and ask me any questions. And I just want to thank you guys for having me. I'm going to leave. I've got a few of these event bracelets here. I'm going to leave these somewhere here. When you guys walk out there, it's just a Stronger Than the Storm little bracelet. Y'all walk out, y'all can have one of those. But thank you guys so much.
Okay,
Well, thank you, Matt.
appreciate it
Yes, sir.
very much. I assume that the council is comfortable with such event?
Oh, yes, yes. I am.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, just coordinate that with your needs through Mario, and as far as dumpster or something for the day, we can take care of that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to our staff reports. Are there anybody else having that? That's the only one, Mark, you're not. All right, we're gonna work through these. Nick, what you got for us today?
I do not have anything for that.
Okay, you're good. All right, think financial, we're gonna, we have a meeting after this one, so we'll defer on that one till the next meeting. Sandy, what you got?
We're all good. Continuing hydrant maintenance. We just got our new hose cleaner in, so we can actually now get all our hose tested, cleaned, and where we are as far as that's concerned. Other than that, it's business as usual.
Okay, any questions for fire? There.
He was here. Mark, there he is. Martin's in.
Yeah, I see Martin back there. I see him. What you got, Martin?
Nothing significant to report on the law enforcement front. We're continuing to do some traffic enforcement and some places like that. No major criminal incidents or anything to report.
I like it. I like it. So, Gina, you have anything?
Nothing major to report. We're just looking along, processing permits. I'd say things have slowed down just a hair, but still steady.
Yeah, it has, I've noticed that too. So maybe it's the heat.
Might be.
And Gina is feeling much better. Thank you, Lord.
That's right.
So
All right.
there's no real reason why to slow down, or just a slow down?
Summertime, school, I'm not sure. We're just, I know there's been some building materials that have been a little hard to get a hold of, so that could be part of it.
Could be. I know there's several of them that they just sit, and that might be the reason.
Yeah, we're holding a few COs. There's some, the arc fault, breakers are getting really hard to find. So there's some that are waiting on those, I know there could be several other material problems like that.
All right, thank you. Code, Kathy?
I have an updated demo list. If anyone's interested. Shrunk down quite a bit, so it's a little better than it used to be.
Thank you.
Any contact, what physical contact have you had with Jamie Massaletti?
With who?
Jamie Massaletti. Fifth one down. Says notice of violation,
I've not heard from her.
oh, okay, so you don't have a contact for her. All you have is by mail.
Right.
Hmm.
406 Maryland. Only 406 Maryland.
Sixth Maryland.
Like derelict mobile home that overgrown lot sitting right next to me. Nothing's been done. The one that says Mexico Beach Welcome Center now,
That's,
on my block.
that one that says Welcome Center, that's the top one up there.
Okay.
With Gary, is too. We found out he's living now in Tampa, so I've looked him up on the Tampa property appraisers, and I've resent him a notice of violation down his property down there. I haven't heard back, I haven't received the card back yet either.
It's 11036. Nick, you got anything on that?
11036.
It's damaged home off foundation. One on the very bottom.
Very bottom. Nice one.
I'll have to get back to that. I can't recall the details.
Oh, there she is. He's the one that is a Superior Court judge in Georgia. And I sent him a notice of violation. He called me back and he said that God moved it, so it's an act of God to have to put it back, get rid of it. So he has no intentions of demoing it.
This is the gentleman who said that
It's on the
because
lot.
the house was no longer on his property, it wasn't his responsibility.
Right, it's on the lot. And I talked to that gentleman also, and he's willing to help to do whatever we can. He thought that FEMA was gonna take care of it, but they didn't. So we just, I think the judge, I sent him an email when he's requesting a hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you scheduled here? Okay, well, we need to schedule a code enforcement hearing. The city has a good position, but the structure moving from one property to another is a very good defense.
What I don't know all about it, but I would think that it's still his structure. He needs to do something with it.
I generally agree. We'll have the special master make that determination for us.
Okay. I'm sure the neighbors don't like it.
So for the council, what is are we ready to move forward with letters of violation and set up hearings? And, I mean, are we, we have that system in place. I think we've all been a little, hey, let's talk to them, let's see what we can find out. But that's been going on now for months, talking to them and asking and trying to get enough information to decide if they're doing something.
I think it's time to do something. Now, I see a couple here that's under legal stuff. I understand that. But, you know, especially these that won't contact Kathy back, we need to do something.
Yeah, what is notice of violation sent, Kathy? Explain to us what that, we've sent them an actual certified letter,
Yes, sir.
and it says they're in violation, and they have what? 20 days to do something, or?
Yes, sir. Then it'll be a fine.
It gives them the opportunity to request a hearing, and on that last example, that's what.
On the violation notice, that's where that information's listed? Okay, I thought it was. Well, let me ask you, what happened to the Grove? They're not on this list, or I don't see them on, is this Daniel, the business was the Grove, that's why I can't think of
That's
Daniel's
Southern
last
Stingray?
name. Yeah, what's going on with that?
I've talked to Jerry several times. She sent me an email. She hasn't received the final report from her insurance company, and that was just last week when I also spoke to her. And she's waiting on that final report to come back from the insurance company.
Okay. Do they plan to do something? I mean,
They want to tear it down. Yeah, they want to demo it.
all right, so, and what's the duplex that's next to them, that would be going west on the highway, that hadn't been touched? I don't know, I can't, It's next to the Grove.
The beach center, that's Hayes Weatherby.
What number is it on here?
7th one down?
2704?
Yes, sir.
Received letter from Hayes Weatherby, reference property. What does that mean?
It means he doesn't want to do anything right now. The letter stated that actually Lindsay and I both have worked on him. She's got some information that was prior. He was under the impression that, I think FEMA was gonna demo.
But that's, rental properties which are considered, commercial, which FEMA would never pay back, so he had a letter saying he was not eligible.
And he says he has other property down here, I forgot which street, but he said until he can do something with that property, he's not gonna be able to touch the other property over there that's on the highway. So we've tried calling him numerous times, and we've never been able to get a hold of him, so I've sent an email, but I haven't heard a response back.
The same goes for 203 Louisiana, for Piers Shake and 515 Maryland. They were rental properties also. So these places, they're responsible. FEMA would never touch anything that's a rental property.
Well, I think for us, I think if we hadn't had any response back, we don't know, I mean, they're just, like you said, Hayes Weatherby said he can't do anything until something else happens, or he thought FEMA. I think it's time to move on and send them a notice of, line them up for, go through our processes, I guess, my point. I just,
Process is a violation. At what point do we demolish the building and then leave the property?
That would still require an opportunity for the property owner to have a hearing to dispute the demolition. But the more important consideration is you would want to plan for the funding necessary to do that and be prepared to pay that cost, because you would be spending the city's money and then hoping to recover it later.
well, what about the fine part? How does that work? As far as, we put it, that's not a tax lien, it's just a fine.
Our notices of violation are intended to set up the fine process to begin, and it's finalized or eliminated based on special master hearings. And if nobody requests a hearing, then the fine it's automatic. If they don't request a hearing and don't dispute the violation.
But and then if they don't pay the fine?
It can be either recorded as a lien against the property, or in some cases it can be put on their tax bill as a special assessment. Depends on the type of fine and the purpose for it.
I like the tax bill instead of a lien.
So Nick, as the notice of violation that's been sent, that's the first step. No, well, maybe it's not the first step, but it is. If we don't hear from them, what then do we do? If they don't request a hearing, we start the fine process.
Right.
We just keep accruing the fine, or we go demolish the property.
So in general, the way the process is set up is before we finalize the fine and go file a lien or do a tax assessment, we do have our special master just do a quick review of the file, confirm that it looks in order, and sign off on it. But there's not actually a hearing unless it's requested. If the violator requests a hearing, then we have an in-person hearing where they state the case and explain why it is that they don't think there's been a violation.
So what I'm trying to do in my paperwork is write it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order of what happens. So just briefly tell me, we've sent them a notice of violation. Then the second thing is they can request a hearing or we can fine them.
Correct.
So that's an either or, right?
The fine is assessed immediately, but it is waived if they comply within certain time period, that's probably, I can check the exact time period, but it's maybe 15 days, maybe 30 days, I can't remember. And if they don't comply, then the fine, and they don't comply, they don't request a hearing, at that point, the file's supposed to be taken to the special master, he signs off on it, and the fine is final at that point.
Special master?
Correct.
Who's the special master?
Clayton Studstill, he's the attorney in Port St. Joe.
Okay. Okay, then after it takes to the special master, then what happens?
Well, if there was never a hearing request to that point, we attempt to collect the fine, and if they won't pay it, then generally regular penalties and fines are gonna be liens against the property, but if it's something that benefited the property, such as if the city went and cleaned up trash or tore down a building, we would put that on the tax roll and special assessment.
But we can't put the fine,
No, generally.
if they fail to pay the fine, we can't put that on the tax record.
Generally not, but you can record it as a lien against the property.
So, and if we do work, we can put that on the tax records.
Yes, if you go do work at the property, something that benefits the property, such as trash removal or demolition, you put that on the tax record as a special assessment.
Well, if they're not gonna do anything and they're not gonna pay it, we're kind of at a standstill. If we go do stuff, we gotta have money to do it. That's the only way we can put it on the tax record. And then if they sell it on the tax record, then they have to pay it. That's when they would have to pay it, right?
That's right.
Once the property's sold. So,
And if it's a large amount, you always have the option to go foreclosure lien, but it only becomes logical to do that when it's a pretty large amount.
yeah.
Kathy, you have Joel Harris here on Miramar Drive, and the comment says neighbor in lawsuit received letter. Is that a concern to us? Neighbor in lawsuit? I mean, does that bother us in the city? Well,
Yeah, because they're attached. He's attached to, those two are attached townhomes. So Joe Harris can't demolish his because it would wind up tearing down Kenneth.
And they've been ready to do their demo, but being attached to that other one, they can't do their demo because it may make the other one fall down, and then they would get sued for.
Well, the other one must be Kenneth Dowdy, I mean, which is the one right above it. You have justified insurance lawsuit will, I'm not sure how that's supposed to read.
The reason I know this is I just did a favor job for Joel Harris and Teresa. And they were telling me asking me what to do about it, and I said, well, the guy is trying to, what's happened is he bought it, he paid too much money for it, he bought it at the peak, and his insurance is not gonna pay him, doesn't wanna pay him enough to where he's gonna lose a ton of money with his insurance claim. So that's his beef, and that's the reason he's dragging his feet, he's trying to get more money out of the insurance company, and he's battling with that. That's what the deal is, whether, I'm not saying what's right, wrong, or indifferent about it, but that's the story.
Well, my story is, how long are we as a council going to sit here and just say, well, I'm not sure the justification of that to not, at what point does that not become, that could go on, we could be sitting here a year from now, we could
Sure.
be saying that.
I think we have to push the envelope. I think we have to say, look, you gotta do something. If you lose money, we're sorry that you're losing.
There's a lot of people that can say that.
Yeah, right. So, I think to get Joel and Teresa the ability to get theirs done, they're wanting to do that, then we're gonna have to push the other fellow and say, look, we're gonna have to start fining you. You either need to settle and do something.
Well, is that the consensus? I think code and staff needs some direction of,
I agree.
okay, let's go. Start the process. And if they respond and they can show us paperwork that says, hey, let's just take that one. Insurance lawsuit, yeah, I'm scheduled in 3 months to have a hearing but we gotta have something. If not, it's gonna just be, I'm waiting for a law,
What's the thing you gotta have proof?
well, I think we need documentation. I thought we were gonna
Right.
get that.
That's what,
I mean, we need something that says, the answer that Darrell just gave isn't satisfactory for me from Mr. Dowdy.
In my opinion, with the council, I believe if we send a letter, it's from the city council. I mean, is that where it comes, or does it come from Nick?
Comes from the city.
Comes
City.
from the city code enforcement department.
The code enforcement department. You think that, I mean, they don't, when you get a letter from a lawyer, if and when you do get one, it sort of opens up your eyes. Because now when just the city, they'll look and say, well, they got a lot more, to me, there's a lot of them around me that's what they say. But we need to do something. And I don't know if maybe getting a letter from Nick or Mr., what's his name, Stud Steele down there.
Well, he's just
He functions like a judge.
yeah, he's nothing more than no, he has no standing in terms of submitting.
But getting a letter from Nick maybe would help some,
So,
or we need to proceed on with, whatever the next step is.
I'm confirming it now, but we need to follow our adopted process. I think it says that these notices come from the code enforcement officer. We deviate without even attempting our regular process.
Yeah, we need to do that. So is it, can we just say, follow the process and let's move on? And let staff and code, let them send out the right, just like we would in any other, if we're satisfied, we've waited long enough.
And I believe the notices have been sent, it's just, it sounds like there hasn't been a very aggressive effort to really apply the penalties yet. And in one case, in this one gentleman who requested a hearing, we need to schedule.
We need to schedule, absolutely. We need to follow that.
well, I would think if somebody is going against the insurance company, they would have some type of document or something to give to us of what they're doing. And if they don't comply, that's when we ought to really hit it.
Well, I totally agree, and I think it's time that we request, if you're gonna tell us that, then give me something that says you're gonna do
Show
that.
proof.
And on that example, if you don't think that it makes sense to proceed, that's fine, but if you want to proceed, there's still a code enforcement violation, and what will happen in that lawsuit is that the one owner isn't really his fault is going to then deflect penalty to the other owner. It doesn't mean there's no violation, it just changes who might be responsible.
Who might be responsible for it, yeah. Okay, Kathy, does that give you, does that give you some direction?
I have some letters, a few letters from people that send me emails. I have one from Melissa where it shows that her court date's in January. That's the few that I've gotten so far, with responses back.
I think the trouble's gonna be, them people that respond, I think we'll do something, but the ones that we can't even find or don't respond back to us, them the ones
Yeah.
that we gonna really, that's the one I wanna go after.
Yeah.
Well, those where they're not responding at all, they're fairly straightforward. The penalty's gonna accrue, get the file signed off by our special master, and we go record a lien. That'll get their attention. Even if it's only for $50, $100, it'll start paying
Yeah.
attention.
Well, I think that's what we should do. Pick those that we know that don't have, you dealing with them, you have some idea of which ones are truly working toward finding some solution to the problem, and those that we don't know are not responding to us. I think that's what we should do. And get them off the list and get them, or not off the list, but get them, see if they'll move, some movement of getting this place cleaned up.
Do we, in addition to the fine, do we get lawyers' fees? Any cost that it incurs to us?
No.
No.
Okay.
Well, I think enough time has gone by that something needs to be done.
Yeah,
We need to take another step forward, I believe.
we almost have
All right.
something here.
Kathy, you good?
Yes, sir.
Mario,
Okay.
you got it?
Yes, sir.
I got one more thing before we leave this.
All right.
Gina. Okay, 814 Highway 98 shows over 50%. How's it put? House or building demo, SDE 56%.
Okay,
And then it says remodeling home.
okay.
Okay, can they legally do it unless it is gone through an engineering plan showing that it could be done less than 50%?
Yeah, for them to get a remodel permit on that, they would have had to have a letter from the engineer stating it was sound and it meets 140 mile an hour wind load, either as it is or with the repairs. And also, they would have had to have had an appraisal showing that the structure pre-storm was over 50% of the repairs.
Mhm.
So they would have had to take several steps to get a remodel permit.
So, just remodeling a home is not a good enough excuse.
Well, I'm assuming if Kathy put remodel home on there, that they actually have a building permit.
That's what he said he was gonna do. He was Paul Francis. That's what it was. When he's in and out of jail.
Yeah, so if he just said he's gonna remodel it, who knows what that means. But if he has a active building permit, then yeah, he's taking steps to get there.
But we don't know whether he's got a remodeling permit or not.
I can look it up.
So, going back to, what you do, if they don't have a remodeling permit, and they remodel it, what do? We just stop it?
Then we put a stop work order on it. Yeah.
Well, he don't listen much anyway,
That's
so.
right. And there's nothing, I mean, if he doesn't have a permit, and he doesn't wanna obey the stop work order, I mean, then we're in kind of another whole different scenario.
Well, let's verify what he's got and send him, I mean, I think we know what we're dealing with,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, his phone has now been disconnected. Tried calling him about a week ago and it's no longer in service.
He's still in jail?
No, last I heard he's out in Overlook.
What,
He's got what?
They'd rather have him out than have to deal with his illnesses, and that's what I heard, in jail. So he should, he's out, I see him around.
Okay. Hey, Mark.
Well, let's just treat him like we do all the rest of them. Send him a notice, then we put him on, start the process and move on.
All of it,
sound good.
or all of the process.
Yeah, a process, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's just get it going and see, and then, cause like Nick said, we've got a procedure, we just follow.
That's right.
All right, Kathy, thank you. You have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, good, appreciate it.
Would you please ask 106 down to your list and shop that it's not on there?
Is that one that should be on there?
Absolutely.
All right, well, then Kathy, we need to check that one out.
That house didn't look real good before the storm. That's the fellow that comes down, he's this real slender
It
fellow.
looked fine before the storm. Still broke down, but
Oh,
it's barely.
must be a different
No,
one.
can't touch Del Road.
Why not?
There's a lot of things going on with that one. We've got some letters from the attorney. They've actually passed away. The son is I think his sisters are trying to get, the property transferred into their name, that they're having problems with the courts. That's what they keep saying it's not COVID. You can't go get all of this stuff. That's the last information I got from him.
Well, pass those up. Nick, have you seen those letters?
No, but again, if there's a violation that exists, we.
I think we can touch it. I think we absolutely can touch it.
And there are times when the city can decide it's not warranted, but it's not an automatic rule that you need to stop.
So put it on the list, Kathy.
Well, it's a lot shorter list than it used to be, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've
Yeah,
done-
You're doing
absolutely.
a good job.
Yeah, we just, like I say, take the next step and move on.
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna put was it 406, is that
Yes.
406 Georgia? I mean Maryland, Maryland, I'm sorry. All right. Josh? There you are. What you got for us? Oh, wait a minute. Well, go ahead. Come on, you're up, we'll come back. I don't promise we'll go to sleep over there.
Get already asleep.
I can't read the list. Thank you, sir.
I put it real deep.
Oh, that's good. Not deep.
Thank you, Josh.
We'll bring those up first then. We just brought them where we can lay these plans down. The first one is the municipal complex. Just wanted to kind of give you guys just more of a visual update on where we're headed with some of these projects. This is our municipal complex site, and we met with Mario, and what we've been working on is getting basically the entrance road up here laid out and how it would tie in down here, if possible, coming in on 22nd Street, where the stormwater ponds would be.
You
How
got
it
another
would look
one of
as far
those?
as the town
Just on one
side.
of those you got?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we've kind
Over
of,
that corner, Jay.
got it here,
Just so,
I can hold it this way.
no, we got, okay. Talk to him. So everybody give a chance to. All right, so this is what road?
This is our entrance, this is a proposed entrance road off of this
Coming
lot
off
line.
of Joe Road.
Right. And the thought is right now, based on kind of a layout we get from DAG, buildings and parking would be in this area somewhere. I think the tower access is actually gonna be more of a trail like this, but we're looking at maximizing the use of this upland area. This is your flood zone line. So anything this side is your AE, anything inside of this is your X flood zone. So we're looking at maximizing that area in the X flood zone for the proposed municipal complex.
So if you look at this, that's our existing water tower. I mean, that's our storage tank. Here's the yard. We're in this building right here, so this is across that ditch, just to give you some reference to where we are.
But the main entrance would be from 22nd Street.
22nd.
I hope not. I hope that's not the main entrance. We're going, the main entrance is here, Joe Road or 22nd Street?
I think that would be up, up to the city, but
Wherever the city wants to
Yeah.
put its signs, really.
Yeah, we just wanted to offer 2 points of access onto the site.
Okay.
And that, that could remain, that could be a gated type access. That would be something that would be, more up to you guys.
Well, I said that, Bobby, because when this idea first flew, people on 22nd Street and the park, and they didn't, I mean, if it's an access, I hope it's a limited access.
So we go back to Joe Road.
Go back to Joe Road and make that the primary way to get there.
I'm not familiar with Joe Road.
Joe Road
Is it a dirt road?
It's off
No,
19.
no, it's that paved road between Casuna subdivision and,
Oh, yeah,
You
okay.
go across the bridge, it's First
I got
Road.
Yeah.
yeah,
Golf cart.
they paved it down there, and
We're gonna keep that to golf cart trail. Not a road.
so, all right, well, you've identified, and this is stormwater. I see.
Right,
Okay, I
and
see.
this length in here is about 370 feet, so you got more than a football field just down at this small, just to give you a reference of scale.
And you said coming off Joe Road, my side you go, but you go down, yeah, you did that.
Right.
So you went this way, to my left and be your right. Is that what you said the parking would be?
Well, you know, and that'll be, you know, it's kind of which way we're gonna flip and flop it, whether we come right off the road and parking is here and buildings are here, or whether, whether we snake around and parking is here, buildings are here. But I would say, this swath down is where we're gonna try to match. The biggest thing we wanna do is we wanna have the buildings and parking in the X flood zone. We don't wanna be having any finished floor issues. We know what that means. We wanna have our buildings in the X flood zone. So that was, the goal of this was to get this road laid out so we maximize the X flood zone for our building use.
And Kasuna's down off the page, it doesn't show.
Yeah, Kasuna's on there,
Yeah,
right, up there.
this way.
Well, going back to, gonna be, people's gonna complain over there and going down Joe Road. Now, people live in.
Well, there's no people that border Joe Road. They don't enter or exit off of Joe Road.
Yeah, I know that.
That would be the best, Joe Road would be, in 21st, that would be.
Is the black line our 25 acres? Is that
This
what?
dash line right here.
Yeah, that's the perimeter of the property.
And we adjusted that just a little bit to get that, we had kept this stormwater pond the same size to kind of pull this road over to maximize it. But yes, that is 25 acres.
And that little square up at the end of the road over here is the fenced in area where they're gonna.
The tower site, the
tower
proposed
site.
tower site.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, so where we go now?
Where we go now is, I think Friday we have a meeting, DAG and a few of us, to talk more about the building layout. So I think the next thing is to get that building layout and parking concept. That was our first scope of work, is to actually get the concept plan from DAG laid in there where we could have a conceptual plan to look at and say, hey, that's where we want to go forward with engineering.
And the conceptual plan from DAG, from there, we still have to finalize what they're gonna actually design for us. Because, again, I just wanna be careful with what we're spending. Who's paying for what on this, Mario? What is,
This whole project is a FEMA project, and part of the FEMA project is justifying moving it from where it was, where it flooded, to this new location. The Civic Center component is one of those that we won't get mitigation to go from that location to this location, but we do have the monies that we'll get from the building at that location that we can spend at this new location. So it is, again, we're trying to make things come together, and we don't know exactly where or how, but again, it's part of the process to get to that point.
and how much of the FEMA then we have a match with FEMA that we gotta pay?
With everything that we do with FEMA, this is probably about a 12.5% match.
So we got 12.5% we're gonna have to match.
Yes.
So we can tell DAG, you gotta be really careful what you design. Don't design us something that's gonna put us so far over we can't afford it.
Keep in mind, over or under is still 12% match, so.
I understand.
If the whole project is $4 million, we've got to match, provide 12% match on that. But
We'll leave here.
what we're trying to truly verify right now is, the original building was 3,000 square feet, to 2,000 square feet, to 3,000 square feet. That's the real task for DAG, is to keep those buildings the same size, and then keep the buildings simple enough where we can keep the costs down to what FEMA believes is reasonable.
And us.
But at the end of the day, we're gonna try to build these buildings to meet the current code, so
Sure.
that we don't have to worry about them after the storm. We're building them at the proper elevation.
I can see.
We will be doing a metal roof. Again, we're doing things to make it withstand the next storm.
And that is an X zone, so it's not, it doesn't have to adhere to the 500-year floodplain build.
Yeah, it has to meet whatever the next zone, whatever the elevation.
I mean, basically, stormwater is gonna govern, the height of the stormwater pond will govern the site. It'll be like a normal site design.
Okay. So in that X, we're not having to build up any higher because of the flood, the 500-year.
It'd just be normal site design in order to be able to get your flow to your ponds and
Okay.
everything. Of course, it will be built up some, but it won't be the 15.5
Yeah,
which
right.
would probably govern the AE there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
As Josh mentioned, on Friday, we'll have the fire chief, sheriff's office, and myself, and we're gonna start going through the building to basically program the building. You know, how many firefighters will be in the building, how many sheriff's deputies will be in the building, and then the same thing with the civic center. Give them ideas of what we need to have there so that they're not doing something more than what we had in the past.
Okay.
Next, all right, we'll go Sunset Park next. So what we've got here is a conceptual plan. We've been working with Mario again on, you know, what the rebuild may look like here. We've got this on the aerial, so it is a little bit hard to see, but essentially the parking area, we've turned it where you enter here and you've got 12 spaces where you're not backing out into traffic. The original parking was along this area right here where you just pulled in, kind of backed out into traffic. So the parking area has been turned. This is El Governor for reference right here. Got a sidewalk, and then here's your pavilion. Now, the finished floor elevation of that pavilion with the lowest structural member at a 17.1, which is per Florida Building Code, the finished floor is about 18.5. So the pavilion is elevated high above.
And the roadway's at what elevation?
About a 13, 12
So
to
the building's
13.
about 5 feet off the ground.
And was that affected by the 500-year floodplain? No, that's an annex right there.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that's, Gina, the Florida Building Code actually governs that.
It is Florida Building Code, but the Florida Building Code refers back to the floodplain ordinance, which adopts 500 year, which adopts elevation. So, yes, it's Florida Building Code, but it's also a floodplain ordinance that sets that.
And the CCCL line requires the lowest structural element to be at 17 something, and then the thickness of the structural element. puts it
Right,
at
you have a 2 by 12 and you're already, if it's 17.1, you're 18-ish, and then your flooring and all that. So, you know, that was kind of what was given to us.
And just about everything that's on the beach side is up on stilts.
Where is that elevation in reference to the original one? How much higher or lower?
It's hard to tell because we don't have any surface pre-hurricane, but it was essentially at grade. So if edge of pavement was 12.5, 13, and the building was probably about a 13, 12, 13.
So we're 4 or 5 feet above where we were.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Which obviously is going to require a pretty good effort on the ramp side in order to meet ADA compliance, which we've done one concept here where you can see our ramp, basically sidewalk that gets us up to the building, and we also, originally we had a boardwalk out to the beach just like the dune walkovers, but what we've talked to Mario here and something that we've got to work with Beaches and Shores on is actually raising the elevation of this parking lot up to maybe a 14, 14.5. That way you don't have so much of the building above existing grade, but we'll also propose having this walkway go just over the top of the dune and stop like some of the walkovers where we'll have a walkover out onto the beach. One thing that we did we spoke with Beaches and Shores about actually raising the height of that dune, and of course if we do, we'll have to replant whatever's disturbed, which is, you know, we understood that, but also they did mention that they would need some testing done on the field that we brought in there to make sure it was compatible with what was actually at the dune. So that'll be really the only hurdle. They didn't seem to have much concern about bringing the elevation of the dune up, which is a good thing, but they did have some concerns over compatibility of the soils, which I understand.
And anything that we do on the south side of the road has to be compatible with beach sand.
Right. And I told them that. They'll just want some kind of verification, probably some kind of geotechnical reference to that. So we've got, David, is this the one? Is that?
So we've got the parking lot here, we've got a handicap parking spot here which can access the pavilion. And then we've also put another handicap parking spot up on the front off this drive, which can basically access the beach through this walkway here.
When you pull off the highway, in that other spot, in
You
that other
come in
area?
right here. The only cost associated with that one is in the concept we'll show you next. Of course, we'll have a paved surface here, but we will have to have a hard surface here as well to access this lot. So that entry to maybe right in here will be hard surface, but yes, you'll pull in right here, park there.
Hard surface meaning paved or rock paved?
Stabilized.
Okay, I would assume they're gonna have to have a lot of fill to kind of level the park out from where it is now.
Correct. If we want to bring the level of that dune up and raise that side area up so we don't have, 5-6 feet up under that pavilion, it'll give the illusion that we don't have that high finished floor above the dune. We will have to bring in some more fill.
And we've got a field over by Salt Creek, that sand, can we use that, or are we gonna have to buy it?
Assume we can use it.
Yeah, that's, the biggest reason that I was suggesting that we raise this site up is fill is one of the things that we have access to.
Good.
And the ability to take that good beach quality sand and put it back onto a good beach quality area makes it cost effective.
Yeah.
Once we agree on the layout moving forward, we can start getting a grade established, get that to Mario, and that's something that we can go ahead and kind of be proactive on. Just making sure that we work with beaches and shores to know that we're using beach compatible sand. This is the other layout that we've proposed. The only difference here is the handicap spaces here. And instead of having this handicap space over here and having a hard surface, we just had another boardwalk where you could access.
So we just extended the boardwalk all the way over, so if somebody here needs to, instead of parking over here to get to the beach, they can just kind of walk across the boardwalk and go down through the expo at that point.
So that's really the only difference in between the two is,
What's the size of the pavilion, or do you have that?
I don't, well, we could have.
We're not there yet.
It's the same, it's
It'll be the
combined
size
same
that we
square
had.
footage as all the
Okay,
other
but-
ones there before, but yes.
Took both of the others, combine them?
We'll combine the two, and it's actually a good point that you bring up, is we're having meetings with DAG on that. Prior to the hurricane, you had two completely separate pavilions and a bathroom probably attached to one or the other. Their original drawing was to show the bathroom on one end and having the pavilion, one larger pavilion to one side. I was suggesting that we have the bathroom in the middle and separate the pavilion into two halves, so that if you get one rowdy group on one side, it doesn't interact with the other side of it, versus if you just have one big area, one group can pretty much take over the whole thing. But I wanted to get your input on, do you want one big space, or do you want two medium-sized spaces?
Well, we utilize it for our musical thing in October, we used to, and one would do
More
that.
likely it's gonna be park to park again on
Yeah,
that.
this location
start
is
with
very,
the-
very small for a musical type.
I hope we
thing.
get away from all sponsored activity. I mean, that highway's just a nightmare. We got Parker Park now. And that was one of the reasons Parker Park became so popular, was just to get folks off that highway. Meaning events. When we did have the Christmas lighting there, we had gumbo there, we had, it was,
Music and the thing
well,
every.
the music in the park, we had that there. They finally moved it. I think they even tried it down at 7th Street for a while, didn't they? The parking there is not conducive to an event.
The only thing I say we need to do is Christmas tree. I loved it there.
Yeah, the Christmas tree was cool. That was, I mean, the decoration was all.
Right.
I think just one building. If you get two, I don't think that's that many rowdy people. Just thinking about the way it used to be with one.
Well, it was two separate.
It was two small ones. They never really
You can
used
see
the
them
smaller
on here,
one
Jerry, there,
for much.
this one and this one. You can just see that. I just left the aerial. That's.
And then
was
you
the two.
gonna have
That
a-
was a bathroom.
It'd be two walkouts to the beach then, what you said.
Just be one, just be one. That's the public access, and it'll stay. That's just your beach sand. But I said one access. We had one boardwalk before, so we'll have one access coming out.
But this is the beach, this is the.
Correct.
Okay,
Well, I kinda think two would be better since, you don't have huge gatherings there. So two families could have one on each side If you just have one big area, it's just.
Yeah, if you take the events away,
Right.
2 probably has a little better for what it is, but if you have events, then you needed something bigger. But without them,
Yeah, as much as I like the view, I think Parker Park is better for the events or the boat ramp.
You're taking away that sandy beach, Bob.
I know, and I hate that. You can get sand from,
They can in 5 gallon bucket. I say, I just one.
we got 1, Bobby's 2,
I said 1.
Sheriff,
Sharon's 1,
1.
Daryl, where are you?
There where you at?
If we're not gonna have events there, I think 2 would make more sense really to me, because then you could split up families.
okay, we go 1.
Okay, so do you want the
I
bathroom?
I just think you can do more with 1.
Do you want the bathroom on the east end or the west end?
Sorry.
It's-
Come on,
it's-
don't put that before, let's just put it someplace. Wherever it fits best.
It'd be better to put it toward the end where the parking lot is, wouldn't it? So if you just wanna pull up and use the bathroom.
All right, yeah, put it down toward on the El Governor end. Well, that's the parking lot.
Yeah, right, exactly. And if you pull up,
All right, what else you got? We'll
And the
be
only
here all
other
day
comment
trying-
I'll have on that one is, is we still have time to decide whether we wanna have this extra space, but something we also could look at is when it got to the point of bidding, it wouldn't be that much trouble to just have a bid alternate in there, where we would have one as our base bid, which had the walkway going all the way across, and another one that had an alternate bid where we stabilized this and put the extra handicap space, so we could essentially bid both if we wanted to just to get a cost difference.
but how much money is Dad gonna charge us a lot extra money to do 2 drawings instead of the 1?
I mean, as far as that walkway
So-
and that site drawing, that's gonna be on me, and I'm not.
Okay. But the
Extra-
building,
Extra walkway is more money, so.
Yeah.
Walkways are not
Yeah.
exactly cheap when you start putting that, artificial.
Well, for
wood
Sunset
on the
Park,
ground.
we at least have the FEMA money, we've got some dedicated fund money that came in for that. For me, I want that to be nice. That's the center of our park city. It's right on the highway, it's a park that is used, and I just think, I don't mean make it extravagant, but make it where it's practical, but it's well done.
And we can afford it with the monies that we got. and
Well,
everything.
we do have other funds besides FEMA money and insurance money. It's the only place we do. We have people that put in
Yeah.
a significant amount of money into that.
Speaking of money, Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program, I think the end of next month is taking applications for FERDAP. So, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how familiar y'all are, 0 to 50,000 is 100%
Right.
funded. 50,000 to, I believe, 150,000 is 75-25. And then 150 and above is like a 50-50 match. They tend to fund more of the 0 to 50,000. And that, if there's something that we wanna apply for, then on the next meeting, we probably need to get it on the agenda where we can have, they have deliverables that you have to have as part of the application, which is like a public hearing and some surveys. But if we wanna get some extra money for a park, then
Well, we're gonna need money at the Parker Park. We don't need to let FERDAP pass us by, so.
well, that's fine. I mean, I can go ahead, if we wanna concentrate on Parker Park, I can get with somebody, we can get just kind of a general drawing, a layout done by the next meeting, have it on the agenda, and going ahead and have all our paperwork ready where we can
We
submit.
need to do that. We certainly don't wanna lose that.
Okay.
We can just put it for all, Palm Park. It'd be nice to have the bathrooms and all back there where people, we got that little play park. People could go to the restroom out there if we could get that back.
I can see how many applications they're taking per municipality. If there are, we can get something
Yeah.
done for two.
All right, let us know. Please do.
Thanks.
Please do. We good here?
I'm gonna leave this with you.
Okay.
So this last one, we'll try to figure out how to hold this up. This is the streets that I've been speaking about, and maybe what we'll do first is just show, it took 2 sheets to get the entire city streets on, but this is what we've been working on the citywide streets. So just to give you this, let's just hold this one up for a second. So basically you can see the picture that we're showing right now is 11th Street, basically to the end down here to Canal Parkway. Those red colors are what FEMA approved as far as repairs on the streets. When you see these real skinny lines, those are 2-foot wide strips that they proposed to repair on some of these, like 19th Street. You can see 2-foot wide strips on each side, nothing in between, just cutting out and patching 2-foot wide strips. And you've got those a lot here throughout the city. You can see a lot of it here up on 44th Street. Basically, they just said right down the edge of pavement, 2-foot wide was all that was damaged. So our goal in moving forward was to look at a more efficient way to do this, where at least using the quantities that FEMA allotted, we got a more holistic repair. So if you look at what we're proposing, and this will be something that I'm gonna leave with you guys where you can look at it more. Basically, we left patches in here like on 30th Street where you just see one patch. That was an essential patch we looked at, say, hey, it's really damaged, it's gotta be repaired. But now what you have are entire streets that are paved versus your 2-foot strip that really doesn't need to be fixed on this street. We took those quantities and reallocated them to where we thought would give you the most bang for your buck. It's really, really hard to make a 2-foot cut down the side of a road, patch it, and it look good. It's, without a better term, it's gonna look like perfume on a pig. So we're trying to create a more aesthetic view, something that they can actually go in and make a full repair on the roadways. So that's one view there. You can see 13th and 12th. They're fully paved. This is the second view, the rest of the city here. So this was existing from FEMA. Of course, we included Oleander because that was part of the road paving, which, will be taking place soon. But you can see all of this portion of the city are all small paves, 2 feet wide, 2 feet wide, all down these side streets. Just a lot of small patches everywhere, really chopped up.
Question on right here on La Siesta. The top over
Okay.
there, right. You got one little bit there. We got holes in each place you turn on to La Siesta. I know, I believe at least one of them, the sign was taken out by the
Yeah.
hurricane. They don't show anything being done there.
Nope.
Who put that sign, Bob? Is that the city that does that, this Los Angeles sign?
I don't know. It's
Was
been
that-
there ever since I've been here, so I don't know who did it.
Developers did.
Developer.
It was a nice sign.
Now see, on this sheet, all of those small pavement areas, we of course we left Oleander because that's something that's already under contract. We've got this whole street here, but we pretty much took everything else out and allocated it more to those streets that were most damaged up by the Gulf on the front. Now, it's not to say that we can't take away from one of those streets if we go out and look at one and reallocate some quantities to La Siesta, but what we tried to focus on were our streets that were covered up by the storm damage itself.
The 2 most traveled streets in Mexico Beach is 5th and 7th. And there's not, I can't see that far, I'm gonna look at it later, but
There's 5th and there's Seventh right there, it doesn't have anything, we can look back on this existing, and that's why we brought it, for you guys to tell us, hey, you know, this is what we wanna do. What we didn't want the city to have is at the end of the day, we go pave a bunch of patches on the roads and they're chopped up and nobody's happy with the product that you have.
And Mayor, I'll have all these drawings available in the conference room so that council can come look at it, you know, whenever they
Would it be better to have some 11x17s too, where you have something small you can pick up, or just?
No, that's probably better. 11 by 17 is gonna be hard to see.
Okay.
So, the question is how do we proceed from here? We need buy-in from you guys to make sure that what we've chosen, you're gonna be pleased with, and from there, we've already got details ready. We're not far out from being ready to put this project out for bid. We just need basically a commitment that says we're satisfied with what streets we're gonna pave. We don't mind going back to the original DDD, we just felt that nobody would be pleased with chopped up paving all over the city.
Well,
Is this the same amount that FEMA approved
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you have?
Correct.
Changed it?
We took their amounts and said this is not allocated goods, so we took the exact same quantities and tried to apply it fully, where you could get a full street paved at one time.
So we can look at it before next meeting, we'll have plenty of opportunity to go over, take a look at it.
And any more data that you guys need, you can call me and we can get.
So if we want you to kind of change something or have something ready for us next time, we should call you and let you know that.
Absolutely.
Okay, otherwise, if we agree to it, then we can proceed at next meeting.
You can give me the go-ahead to move forward.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Be on there, the sidewalks and parking, we're moving forward with that. We did look at one sidewalk crossing with Mario, that's down near the Shell Shack, that has that, wooden bridge. And I'm gonna talk with DOT some about those inlets, because those inlets that are damaged there, that's actually in DOT right away, so I feel like that's their responsibility to repair. If we could get them to bring that one inlet up, I think we could eliminate that timber bridge and just have sidewalks coming in there that would have tie into the backside of inlet, and maybe a better crossing there, a cleaner crossing with just sidewalk instead. The stormwater, we're working on completing an Excel file that'll have basically a direct comparison between what was identified in the DDD versus what was identified by the contractor as part of the contract. We should have that very soon. Oleander is back under construction, and I do have a meeting this week with the contractor to talk about that last stretch behind the gas station that we talked about, doing something with the crown of the road in order to direct that drainage. The jetty project, the survey work scheduled to begin next week.
We had a kickoff meeting, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
So that project is underway, and they're looking at the scope of work of what we've submitted to FEMA to make sure that we can keep it within cost and provide the maximum protection to the beach and the channel itself.
Good.
The beach landscaping, we're still working on it. My full plan is to have by the next meeting a concept, or actually a design ready for you guys to approve. And I know you asked for a cost estimate as well, so we'll try to have that cost estimate ready. I think the full scope of that's $475,000, so we're trying to make sure we stay below that. And I've got canal dredging on here. We're working on creating a pre-hurricane surface for the canal volume, so we can determine how much was actually dredged during the canal dredging, and we should have that by next week.
Laura, is that what we were talking
Yes, sir.
about in that FEMA meeting, about that Dewberry's gonna give us those quantities, so we can quantify the quantities of sand?
Correct.
Okay, and we should
I'll have that next week for sure.
Very good. Okay, one thing, again, and I talked about it, it's been several meetings ago, but when you go over the new Salt Creek Bridge, to the right where the house is sitting, there's a piece of seawall missing, about 4 or 5 feet. and it's created a drainage issue where that sand's going right into Salt Creek. I think that's the homeowner's seawall. I believe that to be the case. Well, we got a mess there. It's gonna, I mean, that sand on heavy rains, and like any other, you create a void, it just, I don't know what we can do there, if we can do anything, but it's certainly going to put sand in that canal and under that bridge. And then you got the two lots on the, going out the canal on the east side. Those homeowners need to be notified. We need to send them a letter, find out what they're gonna do about their seawall. That is another, that's gonna sand, it create on high tides, it washes in behind there. Y'all probably seen it.
On Miramar side?
On the east side of the canal, going out, the last two lots.
Okay.
Their seawall is basically gone, and it's washing their lot into the canal. It's a mess. We need to contact them.
Is, I think the owner is Orsua, where the first seawall you're talking about, right by the bridge.
Well, that house has been sold.
So it is sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sold, and they're working on it, but maybe, I don't know, drive down there and talk to, somebody tomorrow. I don't know what we need to do, but we need to do something.
No.
You know, who, the people that bought it?
It's Darryl Carpenter's, girlfriend and mother bought it, that's in Bristol. Miss Bree lives up the street right on that 80, just turned 89 Friday, that's his son. But I stopped and I helped him fix his stuff this weekend. They just bought it in July. I can, whatever you want to do.
Well, ask them, say, hey, what, you know,
I
you
got
know, that's the way I
know.
think we get things
Yeah,
done better than.
I do too,
I
let's
think,
go ask.
I think, if they can
See what they're gonna do.
see what they're gonna do.
Okay. I have.
There you go.
Gary, if you'll let them know that since it was an existing seawall, that they don't need a development order, all they have to do is get a building permit, you know, how they're gonna build it back.
He's in the construction business, he used to work for Robertson Roberts.
Okay, well, good. We have any questions for Dewberry?
Just public work.
I'm not, I know, but I'm thinking about Dewberry still. I don't know, Tom, is Tommy, has he had a nap over it?
Well, he's smiling.
Okay. I had another question, but I guess that was it about the seawall.
I don't know the man on the other side now, if you talked about on the Miramar side, like on the east side.
I don't know who owns those lots.
Tennessee Chuck could tell you.
But we can get it off the tax assessor thing, and we need to find out, we need to do something. All right, Tommy, what you got?
Morning, Cal. Couple of things. One, I'd just like to, if some of y'all may not know, we did get our QLM people back, week before last.
I saw.
So that's good news. And, also the Boone Road, which we started there about where 2 pins used to be on all the county line, that is completed. All that has been done. And probably most of you know that, the city does work really close with Ms. Barbara Ellis with the sea turtles and stuff. She asked me to kind of give a public announcement, because a lot of people are listening in through Facebook and whatever. The sea turtles are hatching at this time, and we've had a couple of disorientations where they've actually come across the street, down around where Harmon's building the new real estate place. Matter of fact, we assisted her the other day in getting one of the baby turtles, picked up a road grate, and was actually able to save one of them and get it out of there for her. But she wanted me to, let everybody know, if you live along Highway 98, or on the beach side, please take cautions right now, make sure you don't have any outside lights on. And if you have any, they need to be amber, but, anything we can do to help save all the baby sea turtles that we can. She's working really hard, to get all that done, and we help her any way we can, so she asked me to do that. Other than that, Mayor, that's all I have.
Now, I know somebody the other day that said they had like 4 or 5 of them in a bucket, they took them down to the beach. What should they do? Did she tell you what to do? Just call her?
Yeah, if you find any, call Miss Barber, either call us, somebody can call me here at the city and I'll get a hold of her. They had about 6 or 7 that actually got run over, and then they had about 15 that they found close to the club, and, some of them fell in that drain that we were able to get out, so,
Okay.
they take those and take them back down to the water and turn them loose, but, so far, they're doing really good, the nests are hatching at this time, so that's, another thing, a lot of people being able to see the baby sea turtles.
Cool.
Tom, with all this rain that we've had, that, right here at the end of, is it Waterside? The condos right here at the end of the street?
There's a summer house. Yeah, summer house.
Summer house. I noticed that water is piling up again on the north side of the road. What happened, did the drain, we had a drain there that went to the canal. Went to-
I think that drain's still there, but I think it's full of sand. One of the ladies called me from Summer House the other day, and if I'm not mistaken, that DOT actually put that in.
They did.
I told her that, she asked me who she could call. I told her, I said, get a hold of DOT. I said, if you can't, call me back, and, I have a contact, for the.
We need to help them.
Yeah.
In other words, we need to help them get that, that's I noticed the car had a tough time not paying attention, and it kicked the back end of his car right when you hit that water.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and contact them
And see if they'll get-
I know that's what it is.
It's just full of sand,
Yeah.
but the grade is still, the drain's still there?
Yes, sir, the drain's still.
Okay, good.
Mayor, I called Carter Johnson, with FDOT on the stormwater structures that are right there in front of Shell Shack.
Mhm.
He said he'd have a crew come out here and look at those,
Okay,
I'll give him
well,
a call now.
that is, that one is, that is the DOT, they installed all that. Okay. Any questions? What else we got for Public Works?
Report y'all have passed out for the month of July.
Looks like this little spreadsheet.
I don't know if I got one.
They have them out.
I got it.
Maybe I'm under.
You got it?
There it is. I found it.
Got to see.
Yeah, I got it.
Kevin, this is just an informational sheet that's showing us what happened in July.
Yes, sir. We have some information at the bottom, just to show what we maintain out in the field as far as the pipes.
I got you.
That's good information, especially with the total number of water meters, 2,316.
Yeah.
Thank you, kid.
Is that in use? The water meters, is that what's in use?
That's your total connections, that's not total active.
Okay.
Total active will be a different number. We have to report total connections with the DEP, that's why we have that number. But what we have turned on is around 1,500 connections total.
Okay.
About 65% of that.
If you look halfway up the bottom of that spreadsheet, it says, 487 manhole covers. It's one of the things that, we've gone after with FEMA. When the storm hit, all that salt water went into our sewer system and didn't do our sewer system a whole lot of good, plus it flushed a bunch of sand into it. And one of the people within FEMA actually suggested back to us that there is a lid that you can put that makes them watertight. And, we're getting, I think it's about $80,000 or $90,000 to get new lids, for all the manhole covers. One of the drawbacks is they're pointing back and forth at one another, whether we have to have a GPS point on every one of them or just say that it's system-wide. But again, some of the crazy things, but some of the good things at the same time from FEMA.
All right, do we have questions on this report, or Kevin, you have any, or is it just, again, thanks for getting this up, yeah, I think this is good information. All right. Thank you, sir.
I got a little minor, just a minor tip. On the turn-offs and the reconnections, we don't have that problem here, do we? About people getting the water turned off and then we got to go turn it back on. That's not a regular thing, is it?
Yes, sir.
It is?
The customer will have it turned off and they leave a lot of times.
Oh, you have it, okay. I just didn't know if it was for non-payment, what I was.
Well, we do have some of those at times.
Okay, I just asked.
Do we still have a lot of people that vacationers or whatever that turns it off and then they go home?
Yes.
They turn it back on when they come back?
When they come back in, they'll call us.
Rereads, is that a lot? Is that where people question their water bill? 119?
It's meters that won't pick up with the laptop, because the register's gone back or it's under all.
Okay.
On the reading, we'll have to go out and manually read those.
And they just same ones just about every month, right, Kevin? I mean, but I see y'all coming around on my street, and I asked them one day what they said it's rereading, so.
And there's times that they'll pick up, and then it might be a couple months it won't, sometimes they get a little glitchy
Yeah.
or something. But if we get them running for 3 months in a row, we try to get them changed out.
Okay. Questions? Mario, you're up.
Mayor, one thing that actually needs to be added to the agenda, each one of you should have received a copy of Resolution 2026.
We have.
It's a joint participation agreement with FDOT for the landscape for our beach side on the east end. We've talked about this, we've got the landscape architecture underway, and this is the reimbursement of the $475,000. And they need this resolution to be read in by the council and then put into an actual agreement that references this resolution. So if the council will consider this, I'd greatly appreciate it.
All right, we need a motion to read Resolution 2026 by title only.
Make a motion to read Resolution 20-26 by title only.
Second.
Second. Any opposition to read? Lindsay, please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a joint participation agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for landscaping along US Highway 98, not to exceed $475,000.
Motion to adopt?
Go ahead.
I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2026.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, Mario, what else?
Thank you, Mayor. We ran through Sunset Municipal Landscape and the jetty, but I'd like to give you a short little update on the pier. Staff is putting together an RFQ for the pier so that we can get that design underway. We did receive some information from not our insurance company, but our, what are they called?
Insurance adjuster.
The insurance adjuster, that they had been able to get the insurance to cover the pier. We were concerned that there wasn't coverage, but they are saying that there is coverage, so we should be getting some proceeds on the pier. Doesn't mean that we're not going after things through FEMA and through HMGP. We're still going after those, and please keep in mind, when insurance money comes in, it actually offsets the money that you get from FEMA. So FEMA is basically giving you the money to replace something, but if you have something that helps cover that, it negates out. So at the end of the day, the FEMA is the one that fills in all the voids.
So we still have to make the match?
Yes, sir.
And then we can't use that insurance money for our match?
No, sir. Well, let me back up. So if this is the total money, we only have to provide a match for this portion of it. So if it's $1 million that you need for the pier, and 500 came from insurance, you don't have to provide a match for that piece, but you have to provide a 12.5% match for this 500,000. So it does help us in that sense.
Okay.
We still don't know the amount of coverage that is gonna be available. You're having a phone call with the adjuster today. We'll find out more details, but it was encouraging because all along we've been just getting a no coverage statement.
Good.
The Welcome Center is out to bid. The bids are due, I believe it's the 16th to the 17th of next month.
17th of next month.
17th of next month, so that's right around the corner. The sand bypass is another one of those things that is an older project that the TDC has helped us out with, and Kimberly and the group that does the beach renourishment put together the funds that have been expended by the city over the last couple of years, and we are getting refunded approximately $75,000 of beach renourishment money. So that's a move in the right direction. And when we met with the jetty consultant, I also asked him to look at, or we talked about looking at everything in conjunction with one another. The canal and the dredging that's going on at the canal, the spoil area that's on the west side and the east side, where and how to properly work with those, and then to give us a scope of work of moving the surplus sand that we have there over towards the east end of the beach where we need it, and then on top of that jetty, and then whether or not it makes sense to have a sand bypass like we did in the past, or if we just continue to utilize the permit that we have that allows us to truck haul the sand. And I think that truck haul is probably the better route, but then also to look into the existing dredge that we have and give us a scope of what specifications we need within the dredge to fully function for us in the future. Because that dredge is probably towards the tail end of its life, and the funds that we're getting from the sand bypass is approximately $800,000, and that money might be better invested in purchasing a new dredge or upgrading the dredge or doing something with the dredge. So those are all things that are in the works, but I wanted to thank Kimberly for her input on that. Outside of that, we continue to work with FEMA. We're making better progress. We have been able to get some projects broken into pieces and parts, which allows us to get some funds a little bit earlier than we had in the past. Most specifically, we've got the what I consider soft costs. The architects and engineers for the municipal complex has been approved at approximately $500,000. We've got the architects approved for the marina, fish cleaning station, and the pier and the jetty. So all of those projects, even the marina component, we can get funds for the marina, even though it's still being held up on other portions of it. It reduces the money for the architects and engineers, which some of those monies have been expended. So something that's in the works there. And that is it for me.
Talk a minute about the truck haul and sand. That's scheduled to start after this
Yes, sir.
turtle season's over.
Yes, sir. 'Cause we have a surplus of sand. Again, that dredge, every time it dredges, if it's got good quality sand, it gets stockpiled, and we have the permits through DEP to move that sand towards the places where it's needed. And I think right now, one of the areas where it's needed the most is pretty much from El Governor, and then a little bit to the west of El Governor right now.
Yeah. So who is coordinating that to start after turtle season? Who is that you handling that?
It's Kimberly and myself.
Okay.
Typically, the TDC does the beach renourishment side of it, so that's why the two of us are working hand in hand on getting that process.
All right, well, I know she's up to speed on when it can start.
Mm.
Questions for Administrator?
I got one, is the plan for the Welcome Center in your office so I can look at them this
Yes,
time instead
yes,
of
sir.
waiting until I get here to see them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I believe we all need to go look at them.
Did we ever find out about the recycling bins? Are they coming back?
I will have to get with, I will have to get with,
That is Bay County, that's not
that is-
really
yeah,
Mexico
that is
Beach.
Bay County, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
and while you're writing, put me down there to get on the mosquito control board too. We need somebody to represent us, these mosquitoes getting terrible. Thank you.
We need you, you'd have a truck down here just stationed here.
I damn sure would. You walk around my neighborhood and go kill them like I do every morning, but, and that's different. I do believe we need somebody to represent us, and I'm not saying nobody don't, but when I called over there, I got Tommy to call, and Thomas or whoever, when they get through telling you, if it rains and you got 14 days, well, my God, 14 days, we eat up with mosquitoes. But we do need somebody to, I think we need somebody to stay on top of our mosquito spray.
Well, they used to come every Friday, I think, in my neighborhood anyway.
Different now, I mean, I called and it's crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Move on.
All right, motion for adjournment?
No.
No? All right, what you got?
I got something to say, I usually do.
Come on, bring it on.
Okay, I was going down the road the other day, I saw something needed to be done, and I thought, well, I would call one of our city's employees and have it done. And sometimes it takes a baseball bat to make me think back. It's not my place to call a city employee to have it done. It's Mario's. It's my place to talk to him. Whenever the city administrator is over the employees and we are over him and city clerk. I want to tell Mario now, he has my permission to take that baseball bat if I go to a city employee without going to him first. That, it's his job. That's what we pay him for. And I know I'm not the only one that does this. Back when Andy died, we all took hold and we all done a whole lot more stuff than we probably needed to. I would hope that all of our council will feel the same way, to go to the man that's supposed to take care of it. I said my piece.
Well said. Others? Council comments? Motion for
Motion adjourned.
All right, second, Darryl, come on.
Yeah, second.
All right, take a 5-minute recess and regroup for